Let's talk about how to get paid, shall we? Today, I'm going to share with you 4+1 fee structures or deal structures that you can consider if you are selling your copywriting services to clients or to employers, I guess. So I'm going to just list them up front, but there's a lot of nuance and insights and perspectives. I've been doing this since 2005. I have a lot of background actually with all but one of these, and there's a lot to learn in terms of the pros and cons that I think that you'll want to pay attention to. So number one is you can get a job. You can get a job as a copywriter. You can work in-house for some business that needs copywriters. Number two, you can get paid based on the hour or by the hour. You can get paid an hourly fee for your copywriting services. Number three, you can get paid fees that are based on completing a project. So there's a defined amount of work that needs to be done, defined deliverables, and you get paid a fee for doing that. Number four, you can get paid retainers. You can get paid on a monthly basis to do a certain amount of copy, to do a certain amount of help for a client. Number five, you can get paid a royalty, or you can get paid based on performance. And that's the +1 because, well, we'll talk about that in a minute and how you can actually layer it onto the different fee structures. So let's start with the job. A lot of people who get into copywriting get into it because they want the freedom, the writer's life, the freelance lifestyle, whatever you want to call it. They don't want to work for somebody. They don't want to go to an office. They don't want, to be under the heavy hand of a boss, all of that. Honestly, I didn't really want that in the beginning either, but I wouldn't trade my experience working in a marketing job for the world, because when I worked at a small publishing company from 2005 to 2010, I got a ton of experience, not just in writing copy, but across the entire marketing spectrum, developing all sorts of campaigns, buying traffic, generating leads, doing trade shows, writing copy, writing landing pages, writing product descriptions, running email marketing, doing database marketing, database mining, pulling leads out of the database, and all of this stuff that's hard to replicate in a freelance environment where you're basically just being paid to do a piece of copy, right? So working a job, a big benefit is that you can learn a lot about what's going on around the copy. The other thing is, if you like to actually work with other people in person, it's big on that. If you like benefits, you often can get a benefit with, or get paid benefits with a copywriting position. If you just like the consistency of having a job and having a paycheck from an employer, honestly, there is a risk to that, because one employer means one source of income. And I always think that you're better off with multiple sources of income coming in, because if one dries up, I have a horror story where basically a boss told me, hey, if we don't have an infomercial for this product within the next 12 months, we should all be fired. And he was referring to himself too. And it was kind of a crazy experience. I was afraid that I wasn't going to have a job in 12 months or less. And the worst thing about it was a terrible idea for the business to actually invest in doing an infomercial. Thankfully, he went on to some other priority. And so that was completely forgotten by him, maybe, but not by me. And that idea of just losing your job because of something that's completely outside of your control and not necessarily a good idea scared me. So I would rather have more flexibility and more sources of income. So number two is getting paid based on the hours. So you get assigned a task, you hit go on your timer, and you hit stop when you're done, and you get paid based on reported hours. I really don't like this model. I never have. I think that a lot of times the value that's placed on hourly work is associated with people who are employees, and it always underestimates the additional costs of running a business if you're doing it independently. And so the hourly fee will never come close to the value that you're actually delivering. And the other thing is, just by offering your services on an hourly basis, you're going to attract low value clients. You're going to attract clients who don't place a high value on what you do. And you will always be seen as a low value service provider if you're doing hourly work. And honestly, it's kind of the same thing if you're writing by the word or by the page. It's largely this very this silly way to measure the value of communications going out for a business designed to generate response. Now, one of the primary ways that I've gotten paid as an independent copywriter, as a freelancer working with clients, is by the project. So I get paid a flat fee to do a certain amount of work, and I get paid half of it up front, and I get paid half of it when all of the work is submitted and approved. And honestly, like, I love this because I largely have done pretty much the same type of project since 2010, maybe a little bit before, where it's like a core sales message plus a bunch of supporting copy. But I've gotten better at it. My results have gotten better. The value to clients has gotten bigger, and I've gotten more efficient at it. So it takes less time to complete it. And so what that means is I'm delivering something of higher value with less effort and less time. And so my hourly rate, if you wanted to figure it out based on hourly, has gone up tremendously from that. And still I'm largely like submitting the same amount of work. So getting paid fees to deliver projects can be hugely valuable. But the big downside to this is that oftentimes you end up in a feast or famine cycle where you are working hard to get clients, and then you have a full load of projects and you kind of stop working to get clients. And then suddenly you're done with your projects and you don't have any new clients. And if you don't control that, doing this project-based work can be very frustrating in terms of cash flow. And honestly, like early in my career, I would go through high highs and low lows in terms of cash flow from doing project-based work. So that can be a big downside to that. Now, there's another type of fee structure that I've done before, but I really got returned onto it for kind of mid-career copywriters, not brand new beginners, but not somebody who's easily making six figures a year or more. So somebody who's really getting into copywriting and just looking for consistency, looking for consistent work, looking for a lot of experience quickly, maybe looking for more of the learning experience by being more hands-on in a business than you would get by that project work. And that's doing retainer work, where a client is paying you on a monthly basis to do a certain chunk of work or to be available for a certain chunk of work. Now, there's a lot of advantages to this, similar to the project work, in that if you work faster, if you become more efficient, you can probably take on multiple retainer clients at the same time, like do 2, 3, 4, 5, and not necessarily feel like it's not the same as trying to take on 2, 3, 4, 5 actual jobs with salaries, right? So there is a specific way to do this, a specific way to negotiate it. One of my students, actually, Shiv Shetty, he has a flaming camel process for approaching clients and getting them and closing them on retainer deals, where he teaches it. And he has some case studies and stuff that are really cool he shared with me. I'm linking that in the description here. I don't want you to miss it. I will say that I have done retainer work in the past and was very happy with the consistency of income from that retainer work. Because it is consistent. And when you have just gone through a period where you've gone up and down on the cash flow, suddenly having that consistent work with a client is great. So number 5, which is probably the most popular topic among newer copywriters, is getting paid royalties, getting paid a performance fee for your copy. Now, I will say that you could actually do this as a standalone fee structure. Like, you can say, hey, I'm going to write new copy for you, and I only want to get paid based on the performance of that copy. I would largely recommend against this because you probably don't have enough control of the final copy going out and all the marketing strategy to actually make sure it works. The few cases where people have made it work have been things like, hey, I'm going to invest in everything. It's basically an affiliate deal. Like, I'm going to deliver buyers in your lap having already spent the money, and you just have to fulfill. And I'm going to take a portion of that revenue. That's kind of Jay Abraham's joint venture deal that he has done for marketing for a long time. But getting paid just based on performance, there's too many ways the client can screw it up. That said, you can add it on top of almost any of these. If you are getting a job, not all employers will be happy about this, but some employers will actually treat a copywriter like a salesperson and say, hey, if you generate certain performance, I'm happy to pay you based on that performance. It's really hard to do if you're just getting paid based on the hour, just because of the quality of those clients is so low who want to pay copywriters on an hourly basis, and they're really not going to respect the value that you provide there enough to pay you based on how your copy performs. I've gotten paid royalties on projects for most of my freelance career. I haven't taken on projects without a royalty in years. So oftentimes what I'm aiming for is to make at least as much in royalty every month or from every project as I made in the fee as well. So that's a big way to increase your income. And retainers too. Shiv doesn't necessarily teach this, but when I was working on a retainer basis, I did negotiate, hey, I'm writing copy for you that's designed to generate leads, customer sales, profits. And if it does that, let's set up the structure. So maybe you pay me a little bit less on the retainer basis every month, but you're paying me based on the results that I generate as well. So you should be happy to write me bigger checks, because that means that I generated bigger results for you. And they were happy to write much bigger checks than my retainer. So I hope you found this valuable. If you're interested in learning more, be sure to check out the links in the description. If you liked this video, click like so that the magical algorithms of the internet that share this with other people know that people like you like this content. Comment, what's been your experience? What questions do you have about these different fee arrangements? You can share. Also share the video with friends, tag them in the comments or share the video directly or whatever works for you. And subscribe. You can subscribe here. You can also go to breakthroughmarketingsecrets.com, where I put out daily content about marketing, copywriting, business building, direct response, entrepreneurship, personal development, and more. And all of that, again, is at breakthroughmarketingsecrets.com. I'm Roy Furr. This has been a video issue of Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. Be sure to check out the links in the description for more. And I look forward to seeing you again in our next video. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.